Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's live map making session. I'm Rolf Schermann of Profanity Software, which most of you will probably know, but for anybody new or stopping by, I thought it might be nice to state that again. And welcome to my church bells in the background and another hour of map making with Campaign Cartographer tonight. I'm still working on my big city project at the moment. Third time I'll do this on a live mapping video. I want to do another session tonight, and then next week we are gonna go for something else again. I don't want to do the same stuff all the time, and I'm gonna work on the stuff I've already covered and how to do it, and fill up the city, and then go back to some special stuff in the future again. If you've got any questions during the session, as usual, just post them in the chat and we'll all try to answer them as good as we can, and if possible, I'll show something on screen. Our stuff is done and help out with that. Please excuse me if I'm not the fittest today. It's been a hot day and it's getting humid here. Probably some thunderstorms coming in tomorrow, and I'm feeling that with a little bit of a headache today, so let's see how this goes tonight. Last we worked on some of the harbor district here on the map at docks, and created a drawing tool for these blocks because we don't want to put in all the individual buildings at this point. So we've got these placeholder blocks for the moment, and did a little bit of work showing you how to fill in such a section with houses that all match up and don't have the spacing like the stuff with the street drawing tool does. And today I want to cover a few other things you will need for your city maps, like city walls and some natural surroundings like woods in the vicinity or parks and stuff like that. And for that we'll zoom out onto our map first, and let's have a look at our planning stuff we put on the map. For that I'm going to show the temporary folders. I've got put this in and zoom in a bit here. And I'm gonna take a look at the scales here. This is a city quarter that's gonna be has its own wall, basically a separated district for outside people. Most of this city is occupied by monster-type creatures, and here's where some humans from outside can live in relatively safety, and they've got their own walls, their own guards and stuff. And this is a good opportunity to show off the city map, some city wall symbols, because the overall city will not be surrounded by a complete city wall. It's basically a big ruin that's been being rebuilt from the inside, and no one has bothered to reconstruct any city walls. So we'll just do this in this small section here. So what do we need first? We do need some city wall symbols. Also, at the moment I'm on the cliff symbols here I used last time for our cliffs. So we want to reload our standard symbols, and if we don't know how to exactly find those, what we can always do is we can just save the map and do a quick reload, and this will load the base catalog that is attached to the map, and that way we don't have to go searching for it or use other stuff. It's the quickest method to just reload the default catalog that comes with the map. Just perhaps a little side note how this is set up. If you do want to attach your own default catalog to a certain map, different from the template, if you want to do that, go into the drawing properties and then the map nodes, and here you find two macro settings, the on new macro and the on open macro settings, and these are settings that get executed when you open the map, each time you open the map with an open macro or new macro only gets executed if you create a new map of that style from the template wizard. So we don't need to bother about that. In fact, we can, if we want to get rid of superfluous stuff, delete the on open macro, the on new macro on the map. And we can edit this, and here you see under the catalog command which symbol catalog the map loads on startup. And you have your own preference, something you want to have attached to that map. You can change that at this point. The same with the default settings for the streets and the houses, and that way we can set these as we want them. But I'll leave them here for now. I don't need to make any changes. I just wanted to show you these settings. Alright, so we've got the settings the catalog loaded, and we do have some nice city walls here, town walls. And I want to draw just a general wall around our city quarter here, around the scales. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my layer to one that I want. Do I have a look? I don't have any specific city falls layer. I can create my own, or what I can do, I can just put this on the building military, this one actually, layer. That's already in the template. And now I'm going to grab the connecting symbol here in feet, not the metric version. Connecting symbols do need to be separate for imperial and metric maps. That's why we do have two versions here. So we make sure if you're on an imperial measurement map, do use the feet version. Click that, and now I can just start somewhere and draw my city wall. Go. And I'm just going to use the connecting wall feature to draw my city wall. My layout is not 100% precise, my planning, so I'm going to do this a little bit different. And just go back. There we've got it all walled off. Right click to finish, and here's my and what we do see here, what I did wrong is I drew it the wrong way around. I should have tested that first. Now my granulation is on the inside, which it obviously shouldn't be. So I can, let's redo this. I could fiddle around with mirroring the symbols or something, but it's not something I want to do at this point. Because it's not much work anyway, I'm going to undo this, grab the symbol again, and just go the other way around. So you might notice, because the symbols have a specific length, they can't always reach every point on my line I want. I do have fixed section I can put these symbols to, but you can always do a little bit of different directions to circumvent that. There we go. And now my symbols are the wrong way aligned, the correct way aligned. The only problem you might see at this point is that we do have these gaps in the where I put in the corners. Well, that is because these connecting symbols don't have any corner pieces set up. Instead, they're just the straight pieces. So Campagriver doesn't have any things that would fill out the corners. But what we'll do to fix that, we'll just place some towers on these sections to cover up these gaps in the walls. What we also can do is we can take out individual sections and redraw straight ones. For example, if I don't want to put towers as close together there. Here I can just erase these. These are not one complete entity, they are just individual symbols. Grab the tool again, draw a straight section, and now I'm going to grab the tower and let's have a look. I want to put these on a separate sheet because they're supposed to be a bit higher. Well, actually, I do have a special symbols sheet for wall setup here, so I might want to go and change my symbols. Oh, yeah. And I can put my tower in here, and you'll see that it has a separate sorry, got distracted there for a moment. Separate darker glow to separate it from the walls below. But what I wanted to do, I wanted to move the walls, move to sheet by layer. I can still safely use that because I haven't used it much yet in the map. Combine not the tower, do it, and put this on the wall sheet. And I'll make that the current one as well. So just if I want to change or add more walls. Okay, I've got a question there. The trace command actually depends, doesn't. Oh, I have the question that whether the trace command can be changed to go either clockwise or anti-clockwise around an entity you're tracing. The trick is where you select the tracing point. If you change that to the left and right from where you originally selected the polygon to trace, and then where you start the tracing point will define which direction your trace goes. So experiment with that and take a look at the forum. I think we do have places where this question already has been answered. I think I did a little video on that at some point, and where I'm showing off how the trace command works. For now, I'm gonna continue putting down some towers, and for that I should actually go on the towers sheet again. Here we are, and no, I should actually show everything. There we are. Tower here. The corner, sometimes the towers are set up to align to certain the other entities under the cursor, like here on my temporary planning polygon or on the coast, that can get in the way. And to turn that off, just right click and disable the smart tracking tool. And that way you can place them freely. Just remember, oh no, actually that's not, I should have actually disabled smart symbols there. Go, put a tower here, and then I'm gonna put in some intermediate ones. Finish. And here we do have a nice setup of the wall going around our special district. And if you've got stuff like this here, see, I've got this corner here in the wall and I don't want that. I just delete those, go to my symbols walls, and then I can, what I can do, let's try that, attach that with a, no, for these to work again probably, I need to enable the smart symbols again. and put this here. And there I've got a straight section of the city wall. Good, so we do have a nice little walled off section. What we do want is some kind of gates leading into this. Obviously they could just be under the wall and we don't see where they are, but I want to highlight them with their own towers, and to make them a little bit different from the round towers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a stone tower where my gates are. Here we've got these, and let's say I want one tower down here. Now I'm fine with aligning it, and I want to make it a little bit larger than the others. So let's make this quarter size larger. Here we are. Here's one gate. Then I want one up here. So I'm going to align by hand. And actually what I want to do, what I forgot, oh actually I think I'll leave these on the actual city walls sheet, the walls symbol sheet up here, so just to make them not quite as high as the other towers. And I want a gate here that leads up on top of a bridge going over the river at this point. So that might be a nice thing to do. On as the next thing, we do have a nice stone bridge section here, which is also a connecting symbol, if I remember correctly. Yeah, see there's a little C up there in the corner of the symbol, means it's a connecting one. So I'm going to start off a little bit farther here. Put it across the river, and there's my bridge. I should put it on its own sheet though. Move to sheet. Shouldn't be on the walls. So look whether we've got don't have a specific symbols sheet for bridges, so what I'm just going to do is I'm going to put it on the symbols under cliffs sheet. That looks nice, and I am actually going to delete this section here. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another tower on top here, closing off the bridge on that side. Yes, good point on the tower here on the directly beneath the cliff, which is obviously a pretty stupid thing to do. And I was actually just decided to skip over it a second ago, but since Bill mentioned it in the comments, I'm actually thinking we're gonna fix this. That doesn't make any sense to have the tower here right below the cliffs. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna erase this tower and some sections of wall. Here we go. Erase this piece as well, and we'll just use extract properties to go back on our walls sheet, grab the city wall tool again, and connect these pieces like this. It's still not a perfect defensive position. It's still right below the cliffs there, but much better now. So you can't just step on or jump down on the city wall. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this tower here to cover that gap, and that's already a lot better. Good, so there we are. Now I'm gonna actually hide my temporary sheets again. There we are. Happy with that. And what I want to do now is I want to put in some streets, and in this little district walled off piece of the city, and I'm gonna looking for some roads, and here are my city default roads, and I'm just gonna connect the gates and this one. And then I want to put in a marketplace, and for that I'm gonna have a look. I do have the cobble patch pieces here. I also have my docks, but I don't want to draw docks. I just want to draw a market square, and I don't want to have that smooth. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in here and just, I could make a copy, and what I can also do is I just change the this to straight for the moment, and gonna put in a square, a public space in here. Okay, and that looks good. And then let's have another look at adding a few more roads. Like this, this, and one here. Much fine. Okay, I've got a question from Sue here, whether I find it best to tackle a really large city. Is the focus on a small part of it in any one session? Yes, it's got a bit to do with how I want to do the live mapping sessions. I would normally work for a longer time on a specific type of things, like putting in all the roads and streets for the city map all in one go, but that gets boring in a live mapping session because I'm just doing all the same stuff over and over again. So I do here for the live mapping sessions tend to focus on specific pieces and mostly finish them, or at least partly finish them. Might not be the most effective way to work on a city map, but it's probably the most effective to do in the video. And it has the advantage that I can use parts of a city map if I'm focusing on a role-playing session or something on a specific part. I do have a part that I finished that I can show off and work with. So what I also wanted to do is I wanted to put in a little park as a first natural area here for that mapping session. And so I'm going to do this on this city quarter on the scales. And for that I'm going to grab one of the terrain. And here I'm going to take the normal grass. So looking on the weather outside, I should probably take the dry grass, but it's fantasy after all, so a bit of a break from the drought we're having here at the moment. Still better off than other parts of Europe. So I'm gonna put that next up to the roads, and here's my grassy area, my park. I probably want to put in a little few paths through there. And let's have a look. What do we have in roads? We do have dirt paths, but just in the fractal versions. It's easier to see in this road path. I do have a 4-inch path here, and again I'm just gonna do this as a polygon, a smooth polygon instead, or a smooth path instead, and use this to do a couple dirt paths through our little park area. Go. And then I'm gonna grab some, I could put in a little pool. Let's see whether that works here. Not sure, probably the water needs an extra sheet something. So if I grab the smooth water here and put in a little pool on the water sheet, very fresh. We've got some... the thing is, we do have this green glow on our water edge, and because our pool is so small, it's covering up most of the water texture. And so what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to set up water pool sheet. Oops. Copy most of the effects into this one, but now I'm going to take a look, and this is the green glow, and we're going to make this much smaller. Quick look, you can always, if you want to see direct how it looks, move the sheet and effects window a little bit to the side and hit apply. We still do have a very strong dark green glow. Oops. Let's have a look. No, that's not the one I wanted. This one here. It's probably still too large. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just turn the effect off. Yeah, what I also obviously should do is move my pool over to the new sheet. I didn't do that yet, so no wonder the effects don't apply to it. Water pool, here we go. Yeah, Sue's already messaging me about that. She discovered more quickly what I was doing wrong than me. And yeah, I think that's fine for my pool here. That's how I'm gonna leave it. And now I'm gonna then take a look what we do have in the way of, do we have any trees in this style? No, we don't. Oh, let's have a look. Actually we do have, we just need to load the Vegetation Catalog. And now as I'm gonna symbols, do we have any trees yet? No. So what I'm gonna put them on the symbols sheet. Let's have a look. Yeah, my scale is fine. And here I'm gonna make it a bit smaller. Yeah, some trees for my little park area. Good, so that's looking nice. Next up I want to add a few more buildings. Here we are on our symbol catalog again. Now I'm going to switch back to my building house 1. Actually I should probably put the trees on a different layer, so I'm still going to do that. Change layer, grab my tree symbols, do it, and put them on the vegetation layer. There we are. Alright, and now I wanted to grab some houses. Thatched, no, I don't want the thatched houses, I do want the tiled houses. Here we go. And I'm gonna start off by setting this back to normal and add some important individual house symbols around the marketplace. Does that fit? Might be a bit too large. Gonna put it back here. Adding a few individual pieces. There we are. And then I'm gonna continue by adding blocks around the rest of the area. And first off, I'm gonna do a little one again with the different house shapes. For that, let's have a look in our symbol catalogs. Gonna grab the simple slate roofs. Gonna put in some fixed shapes first. One with a corner. And a simple one. Next up, I'm gonna grab the flexible one again and just use this to draw in the pieces in between. And see, there we have a nice little block. What I've done here is actually accidentally drawn them in white color. I wanted to keep the color dark, so the little gaps between the fill style, which happen with the bitmap fills, are not so apparent. So I'm gonna see, and let's change the color of all these for now to black. There we are. Looking better. I recommend to start out working with a dark color. We can always color houses, house shapes later and show off function of that for the city maps at a later time. But for now, I want to draw my buildings in a dark color. But I'm going to switch to my special block tool for now anyway. And so I'm going to go and grab the city block and go back to my dark brown or dark orange color that I've used before, and just draw in one block here to show how that looks. Little nooks and crannies. And there's the block that's going to be a placeholder I like in the port area here until I get around to filling in that area with proper houses. And also would probably put in a darker background for this area, some earthen area, and just go around the inside here for now. Move that to back so it's behind the green area of the park. And this way I would go on and fill this area with the house symbols and blocks to finish the next district of our city. Alright, so that's this piece here, and now I'm gonna go on and add, go a little bit to the edge here and see how we can do a transition from the city to the natural area around it. So what I'm going to do next is first I'm going to continue the road that's crossing the bridge here. Take a little bit wider one. Go. And then I'm gonna go and continue this road with some more of a dirt road next. City dirt road here. Connect these and draw this beyond the map border. It's not gonna be that much difference. It's just still cobbled. So what I'm gonna do instead is I'm just gonna change the fill style of this and make this actually dark earth. Go. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to make these the same width. So change line width, this one, and make it the same 10-foot width as the other road. Okay, there's a strong gap in there, but we are going to work with that later to cover that up. So what I want to do as a transition is a little bit of broken down city wall. Basically, rest of the ruins were the border of the old city was at the time. So let's have a look. We do have some broken down town walls, and that looks nice for that. It's only for the town wall though, but that's fine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a bit of that, go back to my city wall sheet and to my military layer. Zoom in a bit here. What I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put in a bit of city wall first, like this. Erase a section here. Actually, I think I'm going to replace one of the sections here. Just erase that and going to replace that with the broken down version. Angle's a little bit off, so that's fine. And I want to add a broken down section at this point. Now let's see what else we do have in ruins. Here we do have some ruined pieces up here. So what we could just add a bit of, we do have a symbol sheet for ruins somewhere there. Here we go. Grab on these. Put this at the edge here. Might even thinking, do I want to put the big, or we do have some smaller keeps as well. Yeah, let's put a ruined keep here in some place. We might even put that as the, we can say this is the old city gate where the road goes through. Oh, that's a good excuse to cover up the road transition here. But I do need, let's move this. This is, I just placed it down, so I got the alignment to the road right, but now I can just move it and without the symbol moving around. And I'm just places like this. And then a bit of ruin on this side here. though this should probably not go on the ruins sheet because it's the higher one there. I'm gonna put it on top on the towers sheet. There we are. And now I can add a few more ruin places here. See, this is where the city has not been rebuilt. Nobody has bothered about doing any rebuilding here. And we just have some broken down walls. It's looking quite nice, except we do need a little bit of background change here. So what I'm going to do is have a look at our terrain, tools, and scorched grass, dry grass. Let's put in some scorched grass here. It's a bit too dark for my taste, so what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to change the fill style to some, oops, that was the line style I hit. Change fill style, do it, and change it to something that's going to look, I'll probably put some other terrain on top of that. This was the dead grass and some earth here. That's because the grass one is obviously on the higher sheet, so I'm not seeing the other one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that earth and put it on the why is the earth scorched sheet? Yeah, it's looking good. And now I want to add some earth texture around the road here, so I'm leaving the city, and then some grass texture around that. I'm gonna grab some dry grass. Here we go, and on the other side of the road as well. And then we can go in and have a look at our vegetation symbol catalog. Actually, I should be able to just load that from our settings here. We do have field boundaries, so we could put in some hedges. We do have some natural stuff. Let's have a look at the natural. We have got boulders here and fires, which we don't need, but debris might be nice. If we want to put in some farm animals on fields, we have stuff here. For now, I just want to put in some boulders, perhaps here close to the edge on of the map. Could put in a bit of an outcrop. A few more boulders here. And we could then take darker grass texture and set this off a little bit so we can see the difference. Probably should take some rocky texture here instead, or put it, lay it across the edge of the outcrop, but for now I'm gonna leave this and just load up the vegetation catalog. And now I'm gonna put some trees here on top of the outcrop. Bit of a wooded area. some trees along the edge of the road. And there you have a transition of the city area into the landscape around it. Of course, we would now need to fill up the area here. I'd be going from ruined building to partially restored stuff again along the road and build up the city this way. We can actually do a bit of that, and might change, show a little bit of the street tool for that. Let's have a look at our random street settings. What we have the default settings, but I do want a bit of simple settings, so I don't have the very high detail edges, but I'm actually not. Looks like we still have the ragged edges on these symbols, and that's probably because we do have the H system here still in the map. So instead I'm gonna go just for simple house settings because those don't have the ragged edges. See, that's looking already better. And I'm gonna use these to put some houses along the road here. Oop, I didn't miss. Now I managed to crash campaign catalog. Always not a nice thing to do. So what we're gonna have to do is load that up again and see what our autosave has saved. So let's have a look. Open autosave drawing. And yeah, we've lost a bit. We've lost our outside section here. That's a bit of a shame. I should have been saving more regularly. What I did there probably is I hit the outline of a terrain feature with the street tools, and the campaign catalog was trying to fill a complicated shape or edge with house symbols, and that overwhelmed our system and crashed it. Well, the cat is here to console me. Hi, Asa. Say hello to everybody. Oh, there, the tail is there in the picture. Yeah. Say hi, Asa. There you go. Oops. And I'm gonna go back in and have to redo our walls section. So I'm gonna load up our buildings, go down to the ruined pieces. Where was my ruins? I think it's further down. There we are. And I wanted to put in my ruin here. Actually, I could use the opportunity to switch the direction. I think this is going to be fine. Just putting it down this way. Just going to be different orientation from last time. That's fine. And I just need to move it to the proper sheet again. So I had it on the towels sheet. And what I should obviously do is save this again from the autosave back to our videos folder, Fantasy Streams, and the Big City Project 3. There we are. Right, grab some of the ruins and fill out the area alongside the road on the tower, the wall again. There we are. Unfortunate this, but instead of rebuilding the outside area, I'm gonna do that for next time, or well, when I work on this map off video. I'm gonna go back to my street settings. What shouldn't have been lost is the street setting, because that's saved outside of the map. No, actually, I think I didn't save that. So we have to turn off the thatch style again. Now save this. This is what I didn't do. And now let's have another go. A little bit more careful. And there we go. It seems to be working. But it still loads that ragged edge. That's not what I want here. Let's have a look. See if I can fix that. Yeah, I'm still on the default setting here. I wanted to go to the simple setting. There we are. Street settings. Yeah, I save. Okay, let's have another go. Yeah, that's looking better. Yeah, that's nice. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take out a few and replace these with ruins. So I'm showing how gradually more houses are restored as I get closer to the city. Oops, that didn't align to the street. No worries, I can just move it away a little bit. Looking for a house in the appropriate size. Of course, I can also always go in and rescale individual ones. Make this a little bit smaller. There we go. And there's my street into the interior of the city, with a mixture of houses and ruins. Nice idea from Sue there. You can also combine these. Just grab a ruin and to show off a partially restored house, and add this because it goes on symbol underneath. That's a nice combination of the two. All right, so while we're at it, let's go back in and redo a bit of our outside here. After all, I've done the section already, so let's load up the natural catalog, save for a change, and now I'm going to start off by building my outcrop. It's a better idea probably to do that first. Just build the outcrop by attaching the different symbols. Let's have a look how far down we are here. There we are. So here's our little outcrop. Now what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put in a bit of a rocky area, if we have something like that. Yeah, we have terrain default rock here, and I'm going to go for the straight one because I'm just want to fill this. Yeah, and now I'm going to put in some grass on top of that. We have this transition from the rocky edge. Oh, okay, the grass is... let's move up the rock below the grass. There we are. Save the map and add a bit of a note in there, because I forgot to attach that to the map border. And now I can load up the Vegetation Catalog and add some tree symbols. good. Why is the red X showing here? That's just because I am still loaded up the autosave map, and that didn't have the connection to this map here. I can just show you if I save this and reload the map. Oh, actually, it's basically in the cache, the red X here. If I close down Campaign Catalog and load it up again, it will show the title image again. I just don't want to do this at this point. So what I was working on is the terrain around the road here. I'm gonna put in a bit of earth texture around this. I can also outline the outcrop with that a little bit. And then go in and also add I could add a little bit of fields around here, show you how that works. Grab the field tool, just draw the first section how you want your furrows on the fields to align, like this. And then, as you can see, it fills this with a line fills that polygon with the furrows aligned to the first edge of the field you've drawn. Sorry. Sorry about that. And then I can go in and grab a little different field. Texture, lighter green here. To do the next field. And that way we can build the agricultural area on the map. Let's grab a grass texture, dry grass, put this behind here. Oh, actually, it looks like our fields, they've gone just on the terrain sheet. So let's move this up. Should have gone on the fields terrains here. Let's move them there. Yeah, that looks better. A bit of edge fade around it. And now I want to add a bit of terrain boundaries around that. Grab a hatch tool. Put it the other way around as well, like this. Leave an opening for the field. Finished. That's our hedges. Again, we don't obviously have a new sheet for that, so we're just gonna move this up below the vegetation. And we can also load up the trees again and add a few ones between the fields. And there, that looks better than the first one we did, the first terrain, outside terrain area. So that tends to be a good thing about stuff you have to redo. It gets to be a little bit better in the second go. And what I want to do, I want to add a bit of a shadow to the hedges. So what I'm gonna have a look where my trees are on the vegetation sheet. And so I'm gonna grab this, paste these to the symbols fields boundary sheet, but I'm gonna make the length shorter so it doesn't get as big of a shadow as the trees. There we are, looks good. And I've done our first little bit of terrain area around the city. and now it's 7 o'clock already, and we've done our hour of mapping. So sorry for the little crash there, but you can see we redid that little piece quite quickly. Autosave is your savior there. Just make sure you have it on. It's always a good thing to have. Go on the file, autosave, and it can be annoying at first if you've got the notification settings on, but this is quite simple. Just click the autosave settings and uncheck the prompt before saving option. That way it will just silently save in the background, and you can even save the make the time frame shorter to be more on the safe side. You see it was maximum of 5 minutes I lose here, but the only downside if of shorter periods is the autosave will clear your undo queue, so if anytime it fires you can't go back and undo stuff, so be careful with that, or be aware of that at least, that if you set it down to just a minute or so, you just have a minute's worth of undo. So a bit of a legacy thing here with the undo option, and better undo with the several levels and multiple files you can do is something we are gonna be doing for the next version of Campaign Cartographer. Alright, hope you like that, and I'm gonna do a bit of work on the city map behind the scenes and go back to it at a later point next week. We're gonna be covering a different topic again. Hope to see you then, and have a nice evening. All the best. Bye bye.